Hi, I'm Trent with Columbus Epoxy Flooring, and in this video, we want to discuss one of the main flooring systems that we offer, which is a concrete grind and seal using epoxy and urethane coatings. High gloss and durable floors don't have to just be for luxury showrooms anymore. If you're looking for that polished concrete look without that high-end polished concrete price, then something to definitely consider is a concrete grind and seal. Unlike a lot of the other flooring systems that we offer, such as your slurry systems, decorative flake, your high build coatings, which is just basically a solid gray that you see in a lot of facilities. What the concrete grind and seal does is it helps to really bring out the natural beauty of the concrete. So what this system entails is we always go in and we thoroughly diamond grind the surface, which basically helps to cut off the surface of the concrete. And when you cut off that surface of the concrete, what happens is you bring out the natural stones that are incorporated in the concrete when it's poured. So you get a lot of different sizes. You might get some small sizes, big sizes of stone. The further you grind down, the bigger the stone tends to get. So what happens is as you have high and low spots in the concrete, this will expose all kinds of different looks. Whenever we're diamond grinding a floor, we always teach our guys to try to achieve that salt and pepper look, which we call it that just because you get a lot of different whites and black stones that will be seen in the concrete as you cut off that surface. So after we have the surface cut off with our diamond grinders to expose all the aggregate and open up the pores of the concrete, then we'll thoroughly clean the surface. Any patchwork that's necessary, such as cracks, divots, this is kind of subjective and different for each customer. When you get into an old, ugly, beat up slab, not it's generally not possible and efficient to perfectly smooth out the surface. So a lot of times we discuss with the customer that, you can leave cracks, leave pits, and other things that are just naturally part of the concrete at that point. So any trip hazards that we have, we always make a point to resurface those, grind those down, and make sure that that won't be a problem for customers, in the future in terms of, again, just tripping, potentially moving carts across the surface. So you do have that nice seamless surface. But in terms of like small hairline cracks, any minor pits and things like that, if those are left in the concrete or they happen to just be missed, once we apply our epoxy seal coat, it does fill those in a little bit, but it also, because of the natural look of the concrete, they don't really stand out and actually helps to accentuate the natural appearance of the concrete. And what's beautiful about these floors is they help to kind of utilize an industrial look. So if you're in an old warehouse type building, the aesthetics around it, a lot of times we'll see customers paint the ceiling black. They'll utilize like a brick wall and things of that nature. The floor helps to complement all that because you're kind of utilizing, again, that rustic old look. So the imperfections that are still in the concrete will help to just kind of pull everything together and give a just a great aesthetic appearance, even though the floor isn't perfect in its nature. Just because of its nature, it's not going to be along the lines of things like a decorative flake or potentially a colored quartz or metallics, which are a lot of other epoxy type coatings that you'll see when you're looking out on the internet. Your concrete grind and seals, generally, we compare them while they're very different, but we compare them to like a polished concrete. There are some differences. Personally, being in Ohio, I prefer the concrete grind and seal over polished concrete in many types of applications, simply because your concrete grind and seal, it's sealed with some type of a coating, whether it be just an acrylic sealer, epoxy, urethane combination, which is what we tend to use. I like that in Ohio because of the salt. Depending on the polished concrete that you use, there's a lot of variables within polished concrete. It could be as simple as a 3-step process all the way up to a 12 to 15-step process, depending on, what you are looking for in your polished concrete, and all that affects pricing. But generally, what we've seen with polished concrete, you go into facilities like, just like I see it in Chipotle, for example, a lot. The top coat is either worn away or there was no top coat installed. So initially, the polished concrete, when it's installed, it's beautiful. It looks great. It's great for the atmosphere, the setting, the aesthetic. But the salt, again, being here in this part of the U.S., in Ohio, we do see the salt erode concrete very quickly. So even if it is sealed, once that sealer wears down and if it's not maintained properly, which you do see this a lot with concrete in our area, that it's not maintained properly, that salt will quickly erode at the surface and it becomes unsightly. You see spalling, and it just quickly damages the concrete just because of the nature of the chemistry with the salt reacting, and it just breaks it down very quickly. But because with the concrete grinded seal, it is sealed with a resinous coating. That resinous coating doesn't react to the salt, so you'll still see the salt residue, but that can easily be cleaned throughout each season, and it helps to really lock down the surface, gives it better chemical resistance, and also helps it to just prolong the life of the floor overall as well. A lot of the customers that we install this type of flooring for are generally within, they might be in a light retail space that receives light traffic. It could be something like a art studio, office space, again, that's receiving lighter traffic. It could be areas that of parts of manufacturing that again are just looking to dust proof the area as a cost effective solution. It is important to note that while we do use epoxy and urethane combination for our coatings to seal the surface, it's not as durable as something like a decorative flake, a high build coating. Definitely not as durable as something like a urethane cement coating that we use for a lot of our industrial customers in areas that receive very harsh traffic. So if you are considering this for a very just heavily trafficked area, it's just important to consider that it may not be the right system for you. Again, these systems are generally meant for lighter foot traffic, potentially lighter vehicle traffic, and just areas as a cost-effective solution to bring good aesthetics to the space and also help to allow for easier cleanability as well. So just to recap over everything, your grind and seals are a great cost-effective solution. It may or may not be right for you, again, depending on the traffic, but it does bring a great alternative to like a polished concrete if you're considering something like that. If you contact us and reach out to us, we're happy to consult with you to see if it might be a solution that's right for your facility. Just check out our website. We'll leave a link in the description. If you reach out to us, we'll be happy to give you some help. I'm Trent with Columbus Epoxy, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.